When it comes to influence and winning people over, a lot of advice revolves around acting a certain way, by praising the other one, or performing gestures of kindness, that sort of a thing. The problem is, these tactics can come across as disingenuous and can leave you in the position where you're left wondering, well, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to in order to be nice, but they just don't care. Or worse yet, they're just walking right all over me. Today, I'm going to show you a whole different approach to winning people over. And that involves just getting so light and positive inside that people naturally gravitate towards you, even your own worst enemies. And you don't have to do a single thing. Check this out. Welcome to the Power of Quiet, the simple way to self-realization. So if you want total control of your mind and more happiness and abundance in your life, then you've come to the right place. So if you're new here, make sure to subscribe. You're going to love what we show you, primarily because it is 100% experiential, meaning you don't have to take my word for it. You get to prove it to yourself and see real-world results from the work that we do here. And if you're a regular here, you love the work that we do, it makes a big difference in your life, then let us know. Hit the like button below and share in the comments your experiences with releasing and the gains that you've gotten through releasing, or any questions that you have. I'll do my best to jump in and answer whatever I can. Now, when it comes to being a positive influence and winning people over, it literally has nothing to do with the actions that you take or the words that you put out there. But instead, it has everything to do with where you're coming from on the inside. Now, a lot of people tell you, well, you need to do something, right? You need to say nice things or perform some sort of act in order to earn someone's approval, to earn their respect, or to win them over. The problem is whether you realize it or not, by taking actions like that, it often comes across as manipulative. And here's why. See, when you're taking an action in order to win someone over, you're looking for a response or to produce an outcome from those actions that you're taking. So it's kind of like a deal, right? As long as you do what I want you to do, right? That's why I'm being nice to you. And see, people feel that. And most people really don't like that, because we all have this kind of sense inside of, hey, don't tell me what to do, or don't try to, don't try to BS me. See, we all feel each other, whether we realize it or not. We call it, I got a good vibe from this person, or I got a bad vibe from them. Right? We all feel it to some degree. Now, the ones that are most sensitive to feeling where others are coming from, you'll see those are like small children and animals, right? They'll pick up on where you're coming from real fast. Like you can walk up to a child and put on a big smile, say something nice to them. But if you have some sort of angst going on inside of you, or some sort of ulterior motive, they'll feel that right away. And they're like, dude, get away from me. Now, what I'm going to do today is let you in on a little secret on how you could have people just gravitate towards you without you having to say or do a thing, even if you don't know them. And also, even if there's someone who's a big pain in the butt in your life, I'm going to show you by using this methodology how you could actually have them do a 360 or a 180 and literally come eating out of your hand. Now, this is something that we demonstrate when we do live classes and retreats. It's a very powerful exercise that we do that shows how simply by releasing even the most outrageous, the most pain in the butt type of person in your life, how they'll just stop what they're doing, stop being a pain in the butt, and just see things your way. And this exercise, we call it the Gandhi exercise. And we call it that way because we literally show you how Gandhi conquered the British Empire without firing a shot through the practice of love. And just coming from a sense of, I love the British. The British are our brothers. I don't want to fight with them. I'm just going to love them. That they literally handed over the keys to the country. They even know what happened to them. But they just gave up that whole big country because of a practice of love, right? With no ulterior motive, just being loving. Now, I'm going to show you how to do this. And it's easier than you think. Now, to illustrate how all of this works, I want to show you this chart of emotions. Right? This chart is something that we reference as we go through this work and as we continue to release. Because one thing is, we'll find out as we release and we let go of our negative feelings on the inside, the feelings that we've been suppressing and fighting with our whole life, we could very easily release them. And as we do, like all these feelings that bother us, like fear, anger, and so on, right? They just fall away. They don't affect us anymore. And we move up and up this chart, higher and higher. Now you'll notice on this chart, right, you have 5 feelings down below: apathy, grief, fear, lust, anger, pride. Actually, that's 6. And you see that there's a line above pride separating 3 more feelings above that: courageousness, acceptance, and peace. Now, everything below that line, it's all ego. All those feelings, even though some of them we kind of find ourselves attached to, they're all negative. They're all coming from the ego. But when you move above this line into courageousness, acceptance, and peace, then that's where you're coming from, not from your ego, but from beingness. And everything up there is all positive. Now, when you look at what goes on in the world and how people interact with each other, especially when people have disagreements or they're pushing each other around, you see, what people do is they're throwing feelings at each other. Whether it's, in the news, you see that all the time. The news is always trying to stir up your feelings, right? The media, they're always stirring up your feelings. Or when people get into arguments online, on social media, right? They're trying to egg each other on or put each other down. And again, they're throwing feelings at each other. And when you look at this chart, it sort of makes sense. And you could put this into reference with what goes on in the animal kingdom. Because, in the animal world, you have the alphas, where the one who's, like the strongest, the one who's in the highest energy, the most courageous, the leader of the pack, they're the one who's on top, and they get to control everybody else. Now that's true in the animal world. It's also true in the human world. So when people are, arguing and throwing feelings at each other, which if you really pay attention, you see this goes on all over the place. What are they trying to do? By throwing feelings at the other one, they're trying to push them down. And I'm sure you've heard the expression, right? Don't let someone pull you down to their level, right? Now this is exactly what's happening. And it's not just that they're pulling you down to their level, they're actually trying to push you down below their level. So for example, someone who's coming from anger, they're going to try to get you in fear. They're going to try to intimidate you, right? Because fear is a lower energy than anger, and that way they can control you. Or if someone's coming from pride, they're going to try to egg you on, maybe even piss you off. And so you're all emotional, and then they got you. So that's what's going on. When people have disagreements and they're throwing these feelings at each other, they're trying to push the other one down so that they're up above. And then they're in control in that situation. Now, going back to the animal world, a really good demonstration of this, and a really good demonstration of how to overcome all of this nonsense, is shown by a wonderful show, which you probably have seen, called The Dog Whisperer, where you have this guy from, I think he's from Los Angeles. His name is Cesar Millan. And on this show, Cesar takes people who are dog owners and they have some sort of problem with their dog, right? Either their dog is vicious and it's attacking people, or it's just, acting crazy, running around circles, peeing on everything. And they come to Cesar because Cesar is an expert in dog psychology, how dogs operate, because he knows this mentality of whoever's in the highest energy wins. And so the people come to Cesar and they say, Cesar, you got to help me. You got to fix my dog. And if you watch the whole show, Cesar does nothing to fix the dog. It's all about fixing the owner. And one of the things that Cesar demonstrates in all these episodes is he'll meet this dog, on a first introduction. So he'll walk into a room where that dog is and say it's a vicious dog. And that dog is like growling, showing his teeth and all that. And Cesar, he's coming from a high energy, right? He's coming up from, in CAP, courageousness, acceptance, and peace. And you'll see it. He walks in very calm. He doesn't react to the dog. He doesn't do anything. He just stands there in a presence of high energy. Now, the words that he uses to describe where he's coming from, I think he uses the term calm assertiveness. And that's a good description of courageousness and upwards. And what he demonstrates is coming from this higher energy than where the dog is at. It just takes literally a couple of minutes, and that vicious, snarling dog settles down. And before long, it's lowering its head and it's letting Cesar pet him. So the whole show is basically Cesar showing others, showing the owners, how to operate from that higher place. Now, it's one thing to practice being courageous. You could certainly do that. But by practicing Lester's method, Lester Levenson, he's the spiritual master whose work that we continue to put out here through this channel. Lester points out that we are naturally positive, and the beingness of us is way up there, up in courageousness, acceptance, and peace. And in order to be that way all the time, without effort, without having to work at it, is by letting go of all of our non-loving feelings first. All the feelings that we're always fighting with, our anger, our fear, and so on. And these are the feelings that, if we have them sitting inside of us, and these feelings, we've been carrying these with us our whole life. And it's easy for people to just push our buttons and send us going down that scale. But as we practice releasing, and we could even practice releasing right on the spot, doing this Gandhi exercise, that instead of going down when someone's trying to push our buttons, we just let go. We don't have to do anything, just let go of what's bothering us inside, and then we can just move up and up. And what happens is, somebody's, trying to push our buttons, and then by letting go, there's no buttons for them to push. So it's like we take all the fuel away from the fire that they're trying to stoke, and they can't get anywhere. And so either what happens is, well, like I said, we all feel each other. So if we start moving up into a higher place, that other person just might respond and actually go up with us, not even realizing what they're doing. But they just let go of the nonsense, and then everything just gets nice and harmonious. Or if they're just stubborn and whatever nonsense that's going on and they're trying to pull you into, they see that, well, they ain't got nowhere to go with you, so they just bug off and they go bother somebody else, right? They can't bother you. So this is a skill that must be practiced. And this is why Lester gave us a method so that we can bring up all of our non-loving feelings and let them go. Each and every one, as we release, we let go of permanently. And like I said, permanently, we just move up and up and up this chart. So let me give you a little demonstration and show you how you can really come from a genuinely positive place that people will respond to. Now, one thing I've mentioned before I show you, and I mentioned this on the last video, is that deep inside of us, no matter who we are, we're all the same inside. Inside of us, at our core level, is just pure beingness. And that beingness, the experience of it, is all loving. And that's what everybody on the planet is looking for, is just love, giving love. And so when you're giving love, and when you let go of your non-loving feelings, giving love is just effortless. It's natural. And since everybody's looking for that inside of themselves, another way of looking at this is seeing that everybody on the planet is looking for happiness. And the problem is that we're all looking for it out there, in some person or some experience or, some toy, looking for something to give us a sense of happiness, a sense of satisfaction. But that happiness that we're looking for, it's inside of us already. It's that pure love of our beingness. So everybody's looking for this. And when you drop all the negativity and you're just positive and happy and loving, everybody feels that. And everybody wants what you got. So no matter who they are, they could be the most despicable person on the planet. They're just going to come eating out of your hand. This is something that we see demonstrated in so many masters, so many free ones. There are some that are around today, like Eckhart Tolle. We can all feel where he's coming from. He's genuinely a positive, happy person. And we like listening to him. And various other masters, Ramana Maharshi, Yogananda, Lester Levenson. Right? There's lots of talks from Lester. In fact, I'll put a link to one of his talks below so you can hear Lester in his own words. And you'll definitely feel where he's coming from. And this is why a lot of us, we gravitate towards these masters. And you can be a master too. So, let me just give you a quick demonstration. Think about someone in your life that you're having a problem with. And maybe you're trying to do something to appease them, or get them to see things your way, or get them to agree with you. But no matter what you do, it just never seems to work. You never seem to get anywhere. Now, let me ask you, and be honest. Take a look to see if you're disapproving of this person in any way. Oh, I wish they were different. I don't like what they're doing. I don't like the way that they treat me. I don't like those certain things that they say. It bothers me. Just check. See if you're disapproving of that other one. Are you? And notice how that feels inside, disapproving of them. And by the way, you could probably notice, and you could pick up when people disapprove of you, right? You get that feeling, you get that vibe. And how does that feel when you sense that somebody's disapproving of you? You don't like that, right? So no matter what you do, no matter what actions you take, as long as you're disapproving of them, they're going to feel that. Now, let's discriminate a little bit. Let's use a little bit of critical thinking here. Right? You're disapproving of them. You see that? Now, what do you accomplish by disapproving of them? What does that achieve? Is that getting them to come your way? It's not accomplishing anything, right? And by the way, as long as you're disapproving of them, like I said, notice how that feels. It doesn't feel so great. And who has to carry that feeling around? You do. So they have the saying, holding a grudge against someone else is like taking poison and waiting for the other person to die. So that's really what you're doing by disapproving of them. You're just poisoning yourself. And again, you're not accomplishing anything. All you're accomplishing is just activating your ego. You're just getting that voice in your head to sit there and complain about them. Oh, you know what they say, and oh, I can't stand it, and on and on and on and on. And then you have to listen to that angry voice in your head. But who said you had to listen to that? Who said that you even had to have an angry voice in your head? You can actually let that go. And it all starts with this discrimination and making a decision. So if you're disapproving of them, and it's not accomplishing anything, now you can make a smarter decision because it's all your decision. I'm going to be positive and love them no matter what. Or I'm going to be negative and disapprove of them just because I don't like it. Now, which do you prefer? Would you rather be positive and loving, or would you rather be negative and hateful? What do you decide? Well, I'm assuming you're deciding to be positive. So since it's your choice, and since you see you're disapproving of them, could you now decide to let go of disapproving of them a little bit? And how do you let go? It's just a choice. Yes or no. Could you let go of disapproving of them right now? Yes or no? And could you let go of disapproving of them a little bit more? Yes or no? All right, now I'm repeating this question because you might not be able to just drop it all at once. But just let go of a little bit of that disapproval. See where that takes you. And could you let go of disapproving of them a little bit more? And could you let go of disapproving of them a little bit more? Yes or no? It's just a decision. It's your decision. And could you let go of disapproving of them a little bit more? And some more. And even more. And could you let go of disapproving of them even more? And just a little bit more. Could you let go of disapproving of them? All right? Now, just check, see how you feel now. See if you feel a little bit lighter. That's all we're looking for. It's just a lighter feeling. Notice the difference? If so, it shows that you're moving up. And that lighter feeling, it's a nice place to be. What's wrong with feeling light all the time? Much better than feeling bothered. Especially since it's you who's in charge. You're the one who's in the driver's seat. It's all you, baby. So, since it is your decision now, could you give that person some approval? And for no reason. Right? It's not some sort of mental exercise. Oh, you're so nice. You're a wonderful person. None of that. It's much more direct than that. The best way to put it is just simply, could you like them? Now, it doesn't mean that you have to agree with them, especially if they're acting crazy or if they're doing something destructive. It doesn't mean that you have to let them walk all over you. The difference is I'm not going to go down. I'm not going to get negative. I'm going to be loving, no matter what. I love you no matter what. Now, could you give them some more approval? And a little bit more. And even more. And could you give them even more approval? And even more. And some more. And by the way, like I said, being loving doesn't mean being stupid. Doesn't mean that you're just going to let them walk all over you. In fact, you could be nice and loving, but you could still tell them like it is. A really good example of this is you'll see like a football coach, American football, right? I don't know, regular football, as the rest of the world puts it. But let's just say the team in the first half of the game, they're just getting clobbered. And they're down 28-0. And so they go into halftime. The whole team is down, right? They're down in the dumps. Oh my God, we suck, right? Now the coach has to deal with the team. And having them go out in the second half all down like in apathy and grief and all that, the second half is just going to be a bloodbath. So what does the coach do? He gets in their faces, right? Because if they're down in apathy, the coach can be there going, hey guys, you really are a great team. You just need to show up and do it. Now, when they're all just down and in their emotions, sweet talking them, it's just going to go through one ear and out the other. So what does the coach do? He gets in their face, right? He screams at them. Hey, you lazy bums, get your butt up and get out there and do your job. Now, if that coach is coming from anger, then they're going to react to that, right? And he's probably going to have a fight or hard feelings on his hands. But oftentimes these coaches, even though they're saying very outrageous things, like if you don't do your job, you're out of here, you're off the team. But he's doing it from a place of courageousness. And so even though he's being very provocative, he's up in a higher energy. And there's no menace to it. But by being provocative, sometimes you got to kind of like wake people up. Like, oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, right. All right, coach. Yep, I got it. I'm going to get out there. I'm going to give it my best. So in that way, he motivates them. And you could do the same. So it doesn't matter, again, the words or actions that you take. It's all about where you're coming from. And it's all about being loving. So now, bring this love back to yourself. Could you give yourself some love and approval? Why not? Love doesn't hurt anything. So could you give yourself some more love and approval? And some more. And even more. And could you give yourself even more love and approval? And see how that feels. And just notice something. the more you love yourself, the more you make that simple decision. I'm going to be positive. I'm going to love myself. I'm going to love everybody. No matter what they do, and no matter what's off with me, I'm going to love myself no matter what. I'm going to love myself unconditionally. When you have this love for yourself and you're just being loving, who can manipulate you? Who can bother you? Who can aggravate you? Who can pull you down? You're solid, like a rock. And that's the power that you have inside of you. That's the real you. That's the unlimited you. And this is the part of you that's begging to wake up. And coming from this place, your whole life can be absolutely brilliant. Now, if you want to prove this to yourself, join me in a new upcoming 6-week course called Love Yourself and Let the World Have It Your Way. Just by being loving, the whole world just falls right into your lap. It's provable. And if you want to finally wake up and get to a place where you got no more nonsense going on in your life, no more struggles, no more hard feelings, and just everything's just nice and harmonious, and you're in charge, all you have to do is just one simple thing: be loving. And that's natural and easy when you let go of all of your non-loving feelings. And that's something we're going to be working on throughout the whole 6 weeks, is bringing all that stuff up. It's simple and it's easy to let it all go. And you're just going to be astounded by how you feel and what you demonstrate in the world. So if you want to step up your life and demonstrate great things and just have a wonderful life, then join us. I'll put a link to it up here, also in the description below, to the Love Yourself and Let the World Have It Your Way course. Make a smarter decision. Be all loving.